Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Wednesday, August 19th edition of our video devotionals. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope your Wednesday's going well. It is the middle part of the work week, and for some, it's already the middle part of the school week. And I think by next week, then you're going to have, I think, especially the public school systems will be starting. So that being said, school is started, and of course, you know how that goes. And then, of course, Wednesday night is church time for many of us. Be in your places. We'll finish out our prophecy theme by finishing up the book of Revelation, chapter 22. So that's for us, but be in your places and your church, and I think that's very, very important. All right, we're going to be in Psalm chapter 85, verses 8 through 13. Find that if it is your custom. And we want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments, the acknowledgments. I do appreciate that, and I see them. And then, of course, I want to say that I appreciate the prayers for our church member who had his triple bypass heart surgery. I was able to see him this morning, and he's progressing, but it's going to be slow. If you know someone or yourself have gone through that, just the surgery alone is quite it's quite the jolt to the system. But pray for him. And so far, he's doing where he's supposed to be. Vitals are good, but it'll be a long road. But thank you for praying for him. And if you will, I appreciate it, okay? All right, notice here in Psalm 85, verse 8, it says, I will hear what God the Lord will speak, for he will speak peace unto his people and to his saints, but let them not turn again to folly. Surely his salvation is nigh them that fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Yea, the Lord shall give that which is good, and our land shall yield her increase. Last verse, verse 13. Righteousness shall go before him, and shall set us in the way of his steps. All right. Going back to that first verse we read at the end of that, it uses a word the word is folly. Probably don't need a definition from what I looked up, but it basically means a silliness, a folly. God's people got into trouble because they made light of the commands of God. They made light of serving him, and God had to judge his people, and God will judge individuals, and rightly so, because God has said, you belong to me, and here's the pattern of life. And if we're not careful, there certainly exist, in my opinion, I'm a pastor, and I pastor my church, and you kind of sense things, see things, and all of that, but there's a certain lightness that's much in our churches, a sense of not seriousness. The Bible uses the word to be sober. It doesn't mean in the strictest sense to not drink alcohol. And I believe you shouldn't, but I believe that the seriousness, the soberness is the seriousness, the awareness, and the folly that creeps in where, Christianity becomes a light thing, serving God. And thus, when God says to do this or the Spirit leads us a certain way, we just kind of brush it off, and it's like the world in their fun attitude all the time. So the folly there. And then the interesting thing here is in verse 10, where it says, mercy and truth are met together, righteousness and peace have kissed each other. These dwell together. So take the first one, mercy and truth. You don't have mercy without truth. You don't have truth without mercy. And God is certainly a merciful God, but God is a truthful God, and both exist. So thank God for the mercy he extended to mankind when he allowed his son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for our sins. He bore the shame. He bore the penalty. He bore the judgment of God upon himself, the Son of God, because that's what truth demands. That's what holiness demands. And Jesus bore that so that we could receive him, and that's the payment for our sins. Therefore, the judgment, the penalty, all of that is off of us, but it came at God's expense. So there's mercy and truth meet together. So the idea today is often, there's merciful God, a loving God, as if there's no hell, as if there's no consequences, as if there's no judgment, as if there's no chastisement to the believer. So we misunderstand. Thank God for his mercy. That's because of his truth. That's because of his position of justice and holiness and righteousness. And then again, it says righteousness and peace. I have peace with God because I have made it right with God. I made it right when I accepted Jesus. And then as I live my life for him in the Spirit of God and walking in the Spirit and all of that, then guess what? Then that means righteousness and peace are together. There's no peace without the righteousness. and there's no mercy without the truth. So let's be thankful today as a believer that God certainly is merciful. He'll help us, but He will keep us in line. Thank God that His truth that does exist. If we depend upon the fact we have an eternal home, that's because God said so. And He doesn't change things just because of the feelings of God, or just because of, well, you know what, forget hell and forget judgment and forget all of that. We'll just call it even, and we'll just all live kind of in a kumbaya state. Well, it doesn't work that way. But thank God for His love. Thank God for His mercy. Therefore, that's why there's Calvary. And that's why there's mercy. And that's why there's forgiveness. So think about that today as a believer. If you're listening today and you're not saved, hey, God is merciful and God does provide peace, but He does it because of His righteousness and because of truth. And you need to accept the one who is truth, who is righteousness, and that's Jesus Christ Himself, the Son of God. All right, you want to stop right there. Have a great day, safe day, healthy day. Lord willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for watching.